Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you would never ask. Today is Friday. It is January the 29th. Can you believe we're almost done with January?
I know.
Doesn't even seem right. It is National Corn Chip Day. I like corn chips. Those are good. National Puzzle Day. I like puzzles. You're a fan of puzzles,
I do
too.
like puzzles, yeah.
Sometimes you puzzle me.
Really?
And National Bigwig Day.
Okay.
So it's a day to,
You're a bigwig.
to be a big. I'm not a bigwig. And I actually remember reading the history of bigwig, and it had to do with like trying to think what you call them, political people, and they wore like powdered wigs and.
Oh, that
so,
makes sense.
Yeah, so I don't know why today is Bigwig Day, but today is the day. Speaking of bigwigs, I don't know if she's a bigwig, but she's pretty darn cool. Very smart young lady. Kate The Chemist going to join us on the program. We talked to her last summer about her book called The Big Book of Experiments. Well, we're going to chat with her about a new book that is out right now. And she's got another one that's like in pre-order. The new one that's out now is called STEM Night Disaster. It's like a novel. It's like a fictitious thing, but a fun story. And then I don't have the title of the other one that's in the works. But we'll chat with her. I bet she'll tell us. It's all coming up in a bit on the John and Heidi Show.
Addiction. It's not a pretty thing. Addiction can lead to many problems in your life. Addiction can drive away those who love you the most. And addiction can lead to the loss of jobs, relationships, and even your life. Don't let addiction tear your life apart anymore. Get the help you need to defeat addiction and put the pieces back together in your life. Learn more at timeforrehab.com. They want to help. Timeforrehab.com. That's timeforrehab.com.
Now, surveys and studies and such, brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com. A new study found that stuffed animal sleepovers may help your child to learn to read. This is interesting. I've never heard of this before.
Stuffed animal.
Let me explain. The study was based on a program where kids leave their stuffed animal overnight at a library, and then they go and pick them up the next day, and they get a book, and it sparks interest in reading. So I've never even heard of such a thing, but it is an interesting idea. You know, if you've got a kid that's not interested in reading, but you send their stuffed animal to a sleepover.
So then a stuffed animal comes home with a book, and then you're supposed to read this book.
And then
to
the kids,
stuffed animal?
then all of a sudden the kid's interested in books because their stuffed animal's interested in books. So
Okay.
Interesting idea.
Well, that's kind of cute, isn't it?
A study from the University of Chicago found that people who are experiencing higher levels of pleasure while drinking are more likely to become alcoholics. Really? So you're saying,
Lord,
if I'm having a good time,
we absolutely have to get in
I
on
know.
some of this. Some of this money.
The John and Heidi Institute. I mean, we need to start it.
Jeez.
Thanks for listening to surveys and studies and such.
Do you have a credit card? We'd like to help you get a better credit card. If you don't have any credit cards, we'd like to help you too. At BetterCreditCards.com, we have credit cards that offer different things for different people. Some cards offer points. Some cards are designed to help you build your credit. BetterCreditCards.com wants to help you get a better credit card, no matter what you're looking for. See if we can help you find a better credit card at BetterCreditCards.com. That's BetterCreditCards.com.
This is your Brain on Drugs, brought to you by TimeForRehab.com. According to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, after falling asleep at the wheel with a beer can in her hand, a woman almost rolled her truck into a ditch. 35-year-old Erica Nicole Cobb, later charged with a DUI, says officers were dispatched to a suspicious vehicle parked in the middle of the highway. Upon arrival, they noticed a Dodge pickup truck with its engine running. Deputies attempted to make contact with the single occupant who was still seated behind the wheel and passed out and holding a beer can. None of those things are good. They don't go together. After being woken up, the driver removed her foot from the brake pedal. The truck began to roll slowly.
Oh, wow.
One of the deputies continued to run alongside the vehicle. They were able to get her to stop the vehicle and put it in park. The truck continued to travel toward a ditch before that, though. They were able to correct course and not hit oncoming traffic or mailboxes or anything.
Or people.
Yeah, she did not do well on the field sobriety test. She was arrested under the influence of alcohol, is what
That's
they
one
have.
thing
So,
I just don't tolerate.
no, don't do that. It's a bad idea. Not a good plan at all. Thanks for listening. By the way, that is what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. This first story, I think this is a bit of a stretch.
Okay.
So Ellen DeGeneres was seen carrying a notebook with her Pixar character Dory on the notebook, which sparked rumors that she could be working on another Finding Dory movie. So there's Finding Nemo, she played Dory, then they had Finding Dory,
Okay.
and she's walking with a notebook that has her character on it, and they're like, oh, she must be doing a new movie. Or, I don't know,
Or she just really likes
she's a fan of the
her
character that she voiced in
Yeah.
2 other movies. I mean, just because that... Now, if it said something like, Finding Dory 3 or something,
right.
whole different story. But I'm like, wow, that's a stretch. Just because there's an image of that on the notebook doesn't really mean that. And Mary Kate Olsen, for those of you who watched Full House growing up, you might remember
House,
one of the Olsen twins, Mary Kate and Ashley. Well, Mary Kate was married, and now she was granted a divorce after 5 years of marriage. She is 34. Her husband was 51. And they were married for 5 years. So there you go. Now you know. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
At WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com, we help you get ready for all the fun holidays throughout the year with fun, silly, and just plain weird gift ideas for your friends. If you have a friend who has a bizarre sense of humor, we've got a gift for them. WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com posts a link to something that will make you smile each and every day. Whether you buy these weird gifts or not, it's worth checking out just for a smile. WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. That's WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com.
Now your scoop of the day comes your way, courtesy of giftcardchallenge.org. And I was debating whether to even read this or not because I don't like these stories, but there's been a lot of them lately. So I'm going to read it again because this is probably the 50th time in the last year that we've had one of these. An Ohio teacher who has regularly had a very inappropriate relationship with a male student before school has now been sentenced to 2 years in prison. So I don't understand why there are so many of these stories lately.
She was in high school. She was a high school teacher?
She was a high school teacher.
Her student was a
high school student, and they would meet before school. And you know what they were doing before school, So anyway, yeah, she's going to prison for 2 years over this. It just seems to me that, again, like we've had more and more and more of these. Maybe this has always happened and it just wasn't in the news before. But does it seem to you like that's more?
There's a lot more of it. And it seems to be all female teachers, which is the most bizarre part
and
to
again,
me.
But both of them would be terrible. But exactly that. I'm going to move on. Like I said, I almost didn't even read the story because it's just such a bizarre thing, but we're going to move on. A hacker posted the private information of 2 million users from a thing called Meet Mindful, MEETMINDFUL. It's a dating app.
Okay.
So the thing that's interesting online, I read a little story about this, and there were where people could comment. And the comments on there were like, well, good news. Nobody puts the real information in these apps anyway.
Exactly.
So, and I've never used a dating app.
Well, I mean, your personal information that you submitted is already on the internet anyway. So who are they releasing it
I
to?
don't know.
It's already there.
But private information of 2 million users. So I don't know what information that is.
I don't know.
But again,
It's been weeks since I've been on a dating site, so I couldn't tell.
Really? She's been married to me for almost 21 years. And back in the day, there weren't really dating apps. So I don't think apps existed back then. So there might have been dating sites, but no, it's never been anything I've been involved in. Florida is offering to host the Summer Olympics if they back out in Tokyo. Now, here's the thing that's interesting. I thought it was in Beijing.
I don't
China.
pay any attention to
I could have
them,
sworn
so
we
I don't
read a
know
story.
where they were planning on having
I could have sworn we read a story that it was in Beijing. Now, this is saying Florida has offered to host the Summer Olympics if Tokyo backs out.
Why would they back out?
I have no idea. I don't know what's going on there exactly. So there are probably some people out there that have more information on the Olympics than I have.
Possibly.
Because I don't have any. So, and one last story we're going to get to here, and this is really not good. A Canadian casino mogul and his wife, who is an actress, got caught posing as motel workers so they could cut in line to get a COVID vaccine.
Oh.
So they were pretending to be, oh, hey, we're frontline workers, and we I work in maintenance and whatever, but they don't at all. So they've gotten themselves in a bit of trouble. So
Well, good.
Not good. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Early to bed, early to rise makes you healthy, wealthy, and wise. This is a great quote from Benjamin Franklin. At InsuranceChicken.com, we know a thing or two about great quotes. We help people get great insurance quotes every day. It's super simple and free to find out if we can make you healthy, wealthy, and wise. Okay, I can't guarantee that, but I can assure you we'd love to help at InsuranceChicken.com. We want to help you peck out great deals on insurance. That's InsuranceChicken.com.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Super excited to visit once again with Ms. Kate The Chemist. Kate, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me back. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. You got another cool book out, STEM Night Disaster. And then we talked, I think last year when we talked, the Big Book of Experiments had just come out. So which one should we talk about first?
Either, but the STEM Night Disaster just came out on Tuesday, so I'm really excited about that one.
Very cool.
That is part of my fiction. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, so that's really cool. So STEM Night Disaster is the newest one, and it just recently came out. So let's start there. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, it's part of the fiction series. It's the third installment, and what it is there's a little Kate the Chemist. She's 10 years old, and she goes around her neighborhood and uses science to solve her everyday problems. And in the STEM Night Disaster, Kate and her best friend Birdie are competing in this STEM Night competition, and they have these wonderful science experiments, and then somebody comes in and sabotages them. And so what the girls have to do is use science to try to figure out who's sabotaging them, and then at the end of the day, how they can use science to have kind of a big thing and, save the day. So I don't want to give too much away, but I had a lot of fun writing that one. I will definitely admit that.
I'll bet. It sounds like a lot of fun. Now it's a young 10-year-old Kate the Chemist. When you were 10 years old, did you do any of the stuff that you did in the book, or is it all just kind of for the book?
Some yes, some no. So in the first book, Dragons versus Unicorns, the little Kate the Chemist breathes fire. So I wasn't allowed to do that at 10 years old. So I definitely had some blurring of the lines there. But in the third book, I make a lemon battery, and so I actually include that experiment in the back of the book. So as soon as the kids have read the whole story, they can actually do one of the experiments that's done in the actual story. So that part's real. The lemon battery is real. That part you could do. But the breathing fire, I definitely think my lawyer is going to want me to encourage you all to not do that at home.
And it's funny, when we spoke last year when the Big Book of Experiments came out, I shared an image on our social media saying that we're going to talk with Kate the Chemist, and it was an image of you, breathing fire. And it had so many comments on there, and I kept telling people, don't try this at home, because people are going, I want to do this. I'm like, yeah, don't try this at home.
Yeah, definitely don't. If you do, always use a solid, never use a liquid to start your fire, because then that's way more dangerous, but I won't go into that. But yeah, it's really fun. It is safe. If you know what you're doing, it is safe. It can absolutely be done safely, and which I do. But yeah, don't do it at home, especially if you're 10.
That is awesome. So what's next for Kate the Chemist? Are you working on another book right now, or what's the next project that we're going to get to chat about?
Oh, I'm always working on books. So I'm currently working on, we just submitted the 5th manuscript for the fiction series. So the 5th book, we're almost done with that one. And then I had a lot of fun last year during quarantine writing my next nonfiction book. So it's the follow-up to the Big Book of Experiments. This one is the awesome book of edible experiments. And so it's 25 experiments that you can do in your kitchen. You kind of test different things like why do you use baking soda versus baking powder. And for me, it was right at the height of the quarantine, so I was stuck in my house. So I actually just invented 25 experiments based on the materials that were in my pantry. So it was a lot of fun to write during that time when I was really stressed out about what was going on around me.
That's really cool. So would most of the stuff that you had in your pantry be stuff that we have in our pantry too?
I hope so. So I bake, so I have like 8 different types of flour. That might be one thing that you might not have. You might have to go get a couple different things there. But absolutely, a lot of it is, frying an egg. I teach you 2 different ways to fry an egg, and I talk about the different science behind it.
Nice.
So you probably have eggs. You probably have flour. A lot of it's baking, because chemistry is just full of baking, and I like that more. And cooking stresses me out a bit, so I tend to stay on the baking side.
That's really cool. But it should be things that we have. It's not things like Eye of Newt. I don't know what that is.
No.
That was always in cartoons when I was a kid. So, again...
no, definitely things that you would have at home. I doubt anything except for like maybe bread flour or pastry flour you'd have to go buy, but it was nothing crazy.
So when is that new book coming out with the new experiments? Will that be soon?
May. Yeah, May. It's coming out.
Well,
you
hopefully
can pre-order
we
it on anywhere online. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you can pre-order it now?
Yep, you can order it. Yeah, if you put in the awesome book of edible experiments, it should pop right up. It's also on my website, and I can send you info on that as well.
Very cool. I will throw a link to that as well, and then also the 2 books that are out right now. And when the new one comes out, let's chat again.
Wonderful. wonderful. I would love that. It's so great to chat with you.
It is very fun to visit. Kate, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Again, Kate The Chemist, and she's got 2 books out. Well, she's got several out right now, but the newest one is out, that just came out, Kate The Chemist, The STEM Night Disaster, and then the one from last year, The Big Book of Experiments. I've got a link to both of those, and I'll also throw a link to the new one that is available through pre-order. All of that in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com.
Addiction. It's not a pretty thing. Addiction can lead to many problems in your life. Addiction can drive away those who love you the most. And addiction can lead to the loss of jobs, relationships, and even your life. Don't let addiction tear your life apart anymore. Get the help you need to defeat addiction and put the pieces back together in your life. Learn more at timeforrehab.com. They want to help. Timeforrehab.com. That's timeforrehab.com.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
I'm going to change this because for like the last month or so, my fun facts have taken a long time to read. So I'm going to go back to what we used to do. It's fun fact, just a quick little little thing. So here we go. Our first one is this one, and it's just going to be one little quick fun fact. A giraffe can clean its ears with its tongue. That is gross. By the way, it says a giraffe's tongue is 21 inches long, so that's how it can get out and around the side of its head.
Isn't that crazy?
That is just, yeah, not good. Sorry for the disgusting fun fact.
Do you have a credit card? We'd like to help you get a better credit card. If you don't have any credit cards, we'd like to help you too. At bettercreditcards.com, we have credit cards that offer different things for different people. Some cards offer points. Some cards are designed to help you build your credit. Bettercreditcards.com wants to help you get a better credit card, no matter what you're looking for. See if we can help you find a better credit card at bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com.
Time now for a news headline from somewhere in this world. Dateline Russia and Russia. 2 stories from Russia, but they're kind of related because first one is poisoned Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny, I'm probably saying it wrong, claims that Vladimir Putin has a secret billion-dollar mansion he obtained through illegal funding. And then the second story, 3,000 people were arrested at a massive Russian protest demanding the release of Alexei Navalny, who is Vladimir Putin's most vocal critic. So that is not a job anyone has for a long time, typically. Over the last couple of years, we've had several stories about, critics of Putin who found a very sad demise. So I don't know who this Alexei Navalny is, but maybe keep them in your prayers. I'm just saying. A news headline from somewhere in this world.
At WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com, we help you get ready for all the fun holidays throughout the year with fun, silly, and just plain weird gift ideas for your friends. If you have a friend who has a bizarre sense of humor, we've got a gift for them. WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com posts a link to something that will make you smile each and every day. Whether you buy these weird gifts or not, it's worth checking out just for a smile. WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. That's WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com.
Now some weird news brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. This is a bizarre story. Police say at least 4 people were taken into custody early Tuesday after gunfire erupted at a club. The suspects crashed their cars on an interstate. Officers were called for a disturbance at a place called Truth Lounge. They were closing at 2:27 a.m. People in a number of vehicles fired guns from their cars and sped away.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, officers spotted a white Mercedes, a white Dodge Charger, and a silver Lexus speeding south. They didn't pursue them. At about 2:32 a.m., the Mercedes and the Charger crashed at the interstate interchange. Police say both drivers were taken into custody and guns were recovered. The Lexus continued east, was tracked by a helicopter. They were able to stop that car. And the driver and the passenger were taken into custody. Guns were also recovered from that vehicle. So what was going on there?
Quite a lot.
And it doesn't say anything in the story other than, hey, this happened. But what happened? I mean, was it a drug deal?
Maybe
was it a...
They're still investigating.
It doesn't say anything. It's just a really bizarre thing, which is why it is today's Weird News.
John and Heidi.
Time now for your moment of duh, brought to you by timeforrehab.com. Police in New York say a man accidentally set himself on fire while lighting a cigarette in his home. 59-year-old victim was lighting up a cigarette in the bathroom. This happened about 4 a.m.
React with his aftershave or something?
No, the match fell into his clothing and set the clothing on fire.
Oh, my gosh.
He suffered serious burns to parts of his body before the flames were
that's
extinguished.
horrifying.
Medics took the victim, who was conscious, and he was talking to them while they got there, so he was okay enough to talk to them.
Right.
But I could see where that could happen.
Oh,
If he lit it, if he's, he was using the restroom, so if it fell like down into his pants or whatever. But boy, can you imagine at 4 a.m. you're kind of sleepy and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, my pants are on fire. That'd be bad. So it is not a good plan. That's why it's today's moment of duh.
Early to bed, early to rise makes you healthy, wealthy, and wise. This is a great quote from Benjamin Franklin. At InsuranceChicken.com, we know a thing or two about great quotes. We help people get great insurance quotes every day. It's super simple and free to find out if we can make you healthy, wealthy, and wise. Okay, I can't guarantee that, but I can assure you we'd love to help at InsuranceChicken.com. We want to help you pack out great deals on insurance. That's InsuranceChicken.com.
Time now for fake news or Florida. You can chime in, by the way, for an idea for a replacement feature on our Facebook page. We'll tell you more about that in a second. But right now, Heidi, tell me, is this a true story from the great state of Florida? Or is it fake news made up to trick you and amuse me? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Fake news or Florida. An Orlando landlord is under fire for keeping a pet alligator in a communal swimming area. Fake news or Florida?
No, I'm going to say fake news.
It is fake news. I typed that one. I wasn't fooling you at all?
Not even a little, no.
I could see that happen.
No,
Excuse me.
couldn't.
I'd like to use the pool. Yeah, sorry, my alligator's in there. I don't know. I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this at all. But a big thank you to the folks who have sent these things for quite a while. We've done this for a long time. Like I said, I just kind of think maybe it's run its course. If you'd like to chime in with some advice on what you think would be a good feature to replace this feature, you can do that on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. It comes your way courtesy of giftcardchallenge.org, and that is a website where you can make your own good news, like all the time. That's a website where people get gift cards and give them to other people. And again, all the details can be found at giftcardchallenge.org. Here's a headline. Principal takes up a second job at a Walmart. Why? To help low-income students. This is a cool story. 3 nights a week, the North Charleston High School principal, Henry Darby, heads to his local Walmart supercenter to stock shelves from 10 p.m. till 7 a.m. Then when he gets off work, he has just enough time to make it back to the school's campus before the morning bell. He didn't decide to pick up another job because he needed extra money for anything that he was doing, but he said, I wanted to raise some money to go towards low-income students and their families. That's really cool. Mm-hmm. So to go from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., work overnight, 3 days a week, put in that extra time and then give that to his community.
Right.
He said part of the reason he wanted to give back to the community is because of the people who've helped him through his life while he was growing up. After his parents died, church members and other members of the community stepped up to help him. He says, people really helped me get where I am today. I wish those of us who were born of poverty and had to struggle, and we made it to at least lower middle class, if we would look back and help others. I agree completely. I think that is just a great idea. So when other folks caught wind of this, they said, let's see if we can raise some additional money. And they created a GoFundMe to help make this go a lot further than just his 3 nights a week. And they said their goal was to raise $20,000. Well, in 3 days, they raised $43,000.
Wow.
So that was really cool. And this happened, all of this happened here in the last couple weeks. But if you'd like to read the details, I have a link to it. It's in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.